While sitting across from talk show host Conan O'Brien, actor Chris O'Donnell confessed that he owns a Robin suit, nipples and all.
I have a question for you. Do you still have the Robin suit from the Batman and Robin days?
I do.
The actor went on to say that it's nice, it's cool, but what are you gonna do with it? And that's the same question Hollywood had about Chris. He's nice, he's cool, but what are you gonna do with him? For a time, he was the ultimate sidekick, playing off of legends like an Oscar-winning Pacino, the Three Musketeers, and Batman. But Chris O'Donnell never stopped fighting, and he kept climbing up to the top, and found great success on TV with NCIS LA. But that's all over now. Canceled. So what's a grown-up boy wonder gonna do? What the are we gonna do with him now? So yeah, how did he go from Golden Globe could've been, to blockbuster supporter, to Sunday night favorite, to now a pizza guy? Well, he owns a pizza company. So yeah, holy WTF, Batman, what the happened to Chris O'Donnell? But to truly understand what the happened to Chris O'Donnell, we must begin at the beginning, and the beginning began when he was born on his birthday, 1970, Illinois, just north of Chicago. Young Chris would appear on the TV dramedy Jack and Mike in 1986, and the 1990 movie Men Don't Leave, as the older son of a widowed mom played by Jessica Lange. He also got flattened by a train in Fried Green Tomatoes in 1991. And the same year he graduated college, Chris O'Donnell co-starred in School Ties as the loyal friend to Brendan Fraser's targeted Jewish character. Then he played a prep schooler who was in charge of watching over Al Pacino's blind, hoo-eyeing lieutenant colonel in the Oscar-winning film Scent of a Woman. It was Pacino who won the Oscar, by the way, and this was undoubtedly Chris O'Donnell's breakout role, holding his own up against Al Pacino in what was pretty much a thankless performance, but only because Chris O'Donnell makes it look so easy. But he's actually really wonderful in this role and does an amazing job restraining his emotions, which is sometimes what a scene needs. While Al Pacino was lit and his emotions go everywhere, you needed Chris O'Donnell there to really make this Scent of a Woman movie work. Like I said, without him, it's just Al Pacino wandering around screaming everywhere. And Chris even earned a Golden Globe nomination in the process, back when people cared about the Golden Globes. Chris O'Donnell had become a casual and unusual commodity in his generation. He had charm without charisma, and boyish good looks without teen magazine poster appeal, for some reason. But all these opposing forces would make him appealing without being egotistical. And I mean this with respect, Mr. O'Donnell. But yeah, he's vanilla. But you know what? It worked for him, as it works for most of us. It's a beautiful thing. We need the vanilla to let the other flavors truly shine and win Oscars. Next was 1993's The Three Musketeers, taking on the role of D'Artagnan, which was a role that he got because Brad Pitt didn't want to do it. Unfortunately, Chris O'Donnell's lovable basicness fell victim to the movie's panned reception, earning a Razzie nomination just 1 year after getting the most acclaim of his career.
That's Hollywood show business for you, kiddos. 1 second you're nominated for a Golden Globe, and then the next second you're nominated for a Razzie.
But I actually recently watched this Three Musketeers movie, and you know what? It's some fun stuff, actually. That doesn't mean it's good, though. But I enjoyed it for what it is. 1994 brought the movie Blue Sky, which was actually completed back in 1991, but it sat on the shelf for years, and thankfully the timing worked out to show off O'Donnell's early potential, which parlayed into his biggest year yet, as 1994 brought his first lead role in a movie that's pleasant enough called Circle of Friends, and a teen romance called Mad Love, opposite Drew Barrymore, and a movie called Batman Forever.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Batman.
And for the role of Robin, Chris O'Donnell was able to edge out everybody from DiCaprio to Damon to the Coreys, all of the top names at that time. He was the top of the top. Chris O'Donnell actually loves Batman Forever and calls the movie terrific, even though a lot of people seem to disagree with him.
Okay, I'm out of here.
But Chris's enthusiasm for this superhero project really showed that he cares for the work he does, the art he makes. And yeah, this has its haters, but actually, if you really try hard, it's a fun, cartoonish romp. A comic book come to life that's so silly that it's kind of fun. And maybe, just maybe, we will all get a chance to see the hashtag Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. That will give our Chrissy boy another batty boost in his career. And yeah, because of this Schumacher cut, Batman Forever could live on forever. 1996 saw him in The Chamber, a John Grisham adaptation that you probably forgot about. And yeah, it's a fine movie, but even Chris O'Donnell's agent called him one-dimensional in this one. And then he had a very miscalculated turn as Hemingway in Love and War. But 1997 saw him reprising his role of Robin in a movie called Batman and Robin, showing that the studio had faith in him because, hey, even Batman was replaced. But they kept Chris, that means something. But still, unfortunately, at this time, Chris O'Donnell felt like he wasn't acting and he was only making a toy commercial. Even though, like I said with Batman Forever, if you try really, really hard and turn your brain upside down, it's a fun, cartoonish comic book romp come to life. Silly stuff that's kind of fun almost. And until its dud of a release, Chris was actually promised a standalone Robin movie, which of course never happened. But this wouldn't be the only role that he lost out on, as 1997 had so much potential for O'Donnell, but also it had so much against him. Director Barry Sonnenfeld talked him out of Men in Black. You know, because he wanted to replace him with Will Smith, which he did. And Chris O'Donnell, he was almost the star of Titanic. But then they decided that he was too old for the character, so they gave it to Leo. So I guess we can say that Chris O'Donnell was almost the king of the world. And so he began to fall into bit parts, like an oddball deputy in Robert Altman's Cookie's Fortune, which is actually kind of interesting because, you know, it's Robert Altman. And he was the flat lead in a movie called The Bachelor, which I kind of think inspired the reality show The Bachelor. Am I right? I don't know. Then he had a very physically demanding yet stunted go in Vertical Limit, and a go-nowhere crime flick called 29 Palms. Then Sam Raimi briefly considered him for Spider-Man, but no. By this point, Chris O'Donnell started getting familiar with what he would later excel in, television, which let him play against type as a man who murdered his pregnant wife in a 4-episode arc of The Practice, Season 8. And over the next few years, he would balance both movies and TV by appearing in Kenzie, 2.5 Men, The Amazing Westermans, and The Sisters in 2005. That same year, Chris got his first sitcom, called Head Cases, which he took so that he could be close to his family, but it turns out he would be closer than expected because the show only lasted 2 episodes. But on the horizon was a 9-episode arc on Grey's Anatomy as Meredith Grey's love interest throughout seasons 2 and 3, which I'm sure are your favorite seasons, right y'all? But soon after, Grey dumped him. Spoiler alert, sorry. So then Chris left and led the damn good Cold War era miniseries The Company before playing the dad in Kit Kittredge, an American Girl. He also had a minor, ineffective character in Max Payne. Then a few years later, O'Donnell would play the only lead human role in that movie Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore, which was sort of an indicator that his career needed just what the title of his next movie was. A little help. Chris needed a little help. Thankfully, by this point, Chris O'Donnell was on NCIS Los Angeles, playing a special agent. He would also appear on NCIS Hawaii, and you know what? He did a damn fine job. Everybody seemed to really like him in this character. He had finally found his niche, his place in the world of television. And yeah, he made television work for him. His lovable basicness and lack of controversy made him an ideal Sunday night TV staple for a demographic of adult human beings who just want to wind down to some awesome, predictable nothingness on a weekly basis. And it's a beautiful thing. Chris would actually turn up randomly in stuff like the Hawaii Five-0 reboot, Robot Chicken, and a 2016 movie called PG. With NCIS LA ending its 14-season, 300-plus episode run in 2023, that leaves Chris O'Donnell spending most of his time with what he loves, his family of 7, who he shifted much of his career around for. Oh yeah, and his other love, pizza. So yeah, as for pizza, Chris O'Donnell co-founded Pizzana. And you know what? The way I see it, if Chris O'Donnell took a free online quiz asking what kind of pizza are you, he would find out that he's a medium cheese. And at first that kinda sounds like an insult, but you know what? It's a delicious medium cheese. With nipples. So nobody should give a f*** about what the f*** happened to Chris O'Donnell, because he's doing just fine.